What's going on, everybody? My name is Firedog and I welcome you back to the channel. With everything that's gone on in the raid at Onigashima, a lot of us, I feel, have forgotten about a lot of the drama that was unveiled at the Reverie. I'm talking about the call Wapol had with Morgans, what exactly went down with the revolutionaries, who fought who, and so on and so forth. Today, I'll be breaking down my thoughts on what exactly happened at Marijua and hopefully find an answer to what our next arc will be. So let's get into it. Firstly, I wanted to talk about Wapol's discussion with Morgans and brainstorm exactly what was said. I believe wholeheartedly that Wapol did reveal to Morgans that Vivi was a part of the Straw Hat crew, as he saw her in Drum Kingdom and would definitely recognize her if he saw her at the Reverie, and he would definitely tell Morgans everything else that went down at the Reverie. But what else could have happened? I had a discussion with my friend Sak about this exact topic just the other night. I brought up the idea that perhaps Sabo killed Kuma out of mercy, while Sak argued that Kuma probably used his last act as a human to get Vivi out of Marijua using his powers. I like the take, don't get me wrong, but I have a few counter-arguments. If you recall, right out of the time skip, when Frankie returns to the Sunny, he finds Kuma, the actual Kuma, defending the ship, horribly injured yet continuing to clutch his Bible. Frankie prepares to battle him, but Kuma simply walks past him, and we see a scene where Kuma tells Vegapunk to give him one last human action before turning him entirely into a cyborg. This last human action was protecting the Thousand Sunny, so when we see him at Marijua, he's no longer human, or in control. He's technically not alive, so I could see Sabo mercy killing Kuma to be a lot more realistic. Sabo is a lot like his brothers in that they act on their emotions rather than what is actually the best course of action. So Sabo killing Kuma to put him out of his misery would be something Sabo would do despite putting their whole operation at risk. So what I believe happened is that Sabo killed Kuma, and I could also see Sabo potentially killing St. Charles for abusing Kuma like he was. This would without a doubt call Fujitora and Greenbolt into action. I also think this would happen at the same time as the assassination attempt on Cobra or Vivi, which would lead to Sabo and Vivi meeting up, and Sabo learning that she is a member of the Straw Hat crew. I then could see Sabo helping Vivi escape while evading the admirals, in the end giving Vivi Luffy's Viver card. We know that Pell was at the Reverie with Vivi and Cobra, so Pell would be able to get Vivi out of Marijua and head towards the Straw Hats. Assuming it would take some time, the Straw Hats will probably be out of Wano by the time they meet up, and the Straw Hats would be updated on the events of the Reverie as well as Sabo's defeat and capture. This would lead to Vivi officially rejoining the crew, as she wouldn't be able to go back to Alabasta with the government trying to kill her and her family. The iconic scene at the end of Alabasta with the Straw Hats pledging their loyalty to Vivi as a crew member could not have been for nothing. Vivi has to come back to the crew for this scene to ultimately deserve a place in the story. Yes, it was a powerful, emotional climax to the first Grand Line saga, but it couldn't have been for nothing. Them pledging to let her come back on the crew when she's ready could not have been for nothing. That would be stupid, and Oda is too good of a writer to do something like that. I still think Elbaf could be the next arc, with Vivi meeting up with the Straw Hats near the end of the arc. This would kick off the final saga, which I will for now deem the War of the Kings. A grand saga including the finding of the One Piece, as well as the final war against the world government, but that's a discussion for another day. So who exactly is going to fight who? Well, I mentioned already that Sabo will probably be fighting Fujitora and Ryukyugo. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not sure. And he will be defeated and captured. But what about the CP0? It would make sense for CP0 to have been the ones to take care of the assassination, especially since we saw that Lucci and other previous members of CP9 were present at the Reverie. So it would make sense for them, the people who were raised to be professional assassins, to carry out something like that. What I think could have happened is Sabo's battle would make its way to wherever this assassination attempt would be, interrupting it and allowing Sabo and Vivi to meet up. We could see a cool team up between Sabo and Vivi, and I think Vivi has probably gotten at least a decent bit stronger over the past 2 years. We could see some exposition, like I said, between the two of them, with Sabo learning of Vivi's connection to the Straw Hats and her attaining Luffy's Viver card. Without a doubt, Viva would lose to even the weakest of the CP9, but I think she could at least hold her own for a little bit, at least long enough to give her an opportunity to get away. But there are greater implications to all of this. Why would the world government want to go after the Nefertari family in the first place? Do they believe they harbor Pluton? And if so, what good would killing the Nefertari family serve? If they want to acquire the weapon so badly like we saw in Water 7, they would need the Nefertari, specifically Cobra, to tell them where it is. Unless the world government had located the warship and simply no longer needed the Nefertaris around. This would provide more meaning to what Blackbeard said, as he could be going after the Pluton, especially with the Marines spread thin between the warlords and the situation in Wano. Ultimately, this would lead to Blackbeard being the single most powerful pirate in the world. He would be able to take the road poneglyphs from Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks, and from Zoe all with one blast from Pluton each, leaving everything but the poneglyphs utterly destroyed and causing the world government to potentially be its own downfall. To conclude, I believe a lot more has happened at the Reverie than what is being led on, and soon the Reverie will be one of the most important arcs to exist in the entire story, as it will be the ultimate catalyst for the final saga of the One Piece story. We will probably see Sabo fighting the Admirals, meaning Vivi, and potentially Vivi returning to the Straw Hats, fulfilling their promise they made with each other at the end of Alabasta. And finally, I believe that this arc will also act as the reason that Blackbeard ultimately comes to power, and potentially the Pirate King before Luffy. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like to boost the video in the YouTube algorithm, and while you're there, make sure to subscribe, as it's free and you can opt out at any time. I plan to continue uploading 2 to 3 times every week, and I'll be expanding my content to reviewing other forms of media, as well as making my own original skits and short films. I hope you are happy and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.